Yeah, well, it's 10 o'clock. If Ali, you kind of want to introduce who we are, and we'll get started. We'll introduce our guest today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So officially welcome everyone. It's 10 a.m. here in California. Is it 7 p.m. where you are, Stefan, in Europe, in Austria?
Yes.
So we've got people from all over the world at all different time zones. Our class is quickly filling up here on Zoom, and we're streaming over on Facebook. So let us know where it is that you're coming from. Where in the world are you joining us from today? So if you don't already know, my name is Ali DeVita, and I'm joined first of all here by Mari Inouye. We together have founded Mind Body Vault, where we provide health and fitness and fun inspiration for equestrians, including vaulters and all disciplines. And through this quarantine, we started this series of bringing to you some of the all-star vaulters from our sport, some of the superstars. And we are so super excited to have Mr. Stefan Csandl here today.
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and tell us about the class that
yes. Absolutely. We have multiple time European Championship medalist and WEG team medalist, Stefan Csandl here, leading us through how to train smarter. So that's what the class is called today, because we will be focusing specifically on ankle stability exercises today. So it's not going to be a hard strength conditioning workout. We're working more on rehabilitation as well. So Stefan is also a sports physiotherapist specializing specifically in injury prevention and rehabilitation in the ankle, knee, and shoulder. So this session is going to be very valuable for you guys to have these skills to walk away from today. If you don't need it now, maybe in the future. You will need a hard ball, some sort of hard ball today, a piece of paper, if you have one around you, and then also some sort of band. It's not absolutely required or necessary, but if you have one around you, that would be great. And then, of course, an elevated surface such as a chair or something that you can sit on. So without further ado, we are so excited to introduce Stefan. I will pass it on over to you to start the class.
Hello, everyone. This is Vienna calling. As we don't have the Eurovision Song Contest this year, this is my little song contest exercise. As Mary already said, that I'm a physiotherapist. I specialize in rehabilitation of the lower extremities, so it's ankle, knee, hip, a lot of shoulders as well, but I love ankles, so that's something I really, really like doing. And I really need to apologize because most of the time you will see my feet. But it makes it close and it makes it a bit easier to access. So I go one, a little bit lower. So here we go. These are my feet. I told you to bring a ball. It really doesn't matter what kind of ball it is. In our practice, of course, we have these nice hedgehog balls, we call them. Some massage things, they have these little knobs on it. So what we start with is we just massage our feet. And you really can do that for quite a while, because this is how you get more awareness of the sole of your feet. So we want to connect the feeling on our toes, on our soles, on the heel, from the point where we touch to our brain. So that's the moment when we really try to get more signals into our body. And only a ball like this would be one possibility to doing that. As you can already see, just by rolling the ball, you are actually moving your ankle. So this is already starting to warm up this part of your body. And that's very important. If you find one of these nice spots, normally it's somewhere here, where there's a little pain as well, just step on it, push on it, and try to relax that muscle down there. So that makes life a little bit easier and nicer. When you step off the ball, you can just check how it feels as you stand on the ground. Because normally life gets a little bit different down there. Just realize how your feeling changes, how it's different, how you feel more where you're standing on. I'm on a carpet, so it's nice and warm there, but really try to see or feel where you're actually standing. Do you stand more on your heel? Do you stand more on the toes, more on the palm? Just evaluate. Be aware what parts of your foot actually touch the ground. Good. So now we're gonna have a little anatomy lesson. So in the ankle, we have actually two joints. We have the joint that goes from the lower leg to the foot. And in here, this happens. We go up and down. But right underneath that bone, we have another bone, which is the heel. And in here, we do movement like this. So these rotations of the front foot. Just to check, when I do that movement, my knee actually doesn't move. So the knee always stays on top of my ankle. So for the next drill we are doing, I want you to focus on having your knees above your ankle. And the first thing we do is you can just lean like I'm doing right now on your thighs. Just lift your toes and lift your heels so that we get the first easy movement into our ankle. Just so that we move the joint in the full range of motion so that it's not just down here. We really want to pull the toes high as high as possible and push them down the same way. At all the times, knees are above your ankle. Good. From that point, I want you to try to bring once only the outside and then only the inside down so that we have that rotation in the front foot. Again, the knees don't move.
That's hard.
Yeah,
I was moving my knees.
And you might already start feeling these muscles here on the side. But Ellie, I can promise it's going to be harder.
Uh-oh. I already feel it. It's good.
So, fun fact about what we are doing right now is there is scientific evidence that the routine we are doing now has the same effect as a 15-minute balance training where you're standing on one leg, doing stuff like that. So just by sitting and moving, we get the same warm-up that you probably get from starting to train. So this is maybe something that's pretty easy when your mom and dad brings you to training and you're already a little late because school was longer or there is traffic. You can actually start warming up already in the car.
I love that.
So now life gets interesting. So
That always makes me nervous when you say that.
I show it with one foot first. So you lift all your toes, and it's important that you stand on your foot in the right way. So they are like, maybe you can, this point and this point, they should kind of pull together, and this point here should pull to the heel. So these 3 points are actually our base, okay? So when you now stand, these 3 should really push down on the ground, and at the same time, you lift your toes. And now, you try to only bring down the big toe. And not losing one of the 3 points at the same time. And of that, we make 10 repetitions. Important here is that the other 4 toes shouldn't go down to the floor. It's not allowed to use your fingers to do that. Good. And after the first round, the toes stay up and only the 4 go down.
Mari, can you do that?
No.
You can't do that.
It's crazy how these little movements are so effective, though.
Yeah, and of those of you who actually can do them, you will feel them here, because this is where the tendons come down. And what we are doing is we actually start training the muscles that go around the ankle and stabilize it, but in a very stable position. So just after you've rolled an ankle, these are the moves that you actually can easily do without producing any more harm, because you're actually not moving the ankle at all.
Yeah.
So the capsule tissue is not going to be affected too much here, because it's all about actually getting the muscles ready to stabilize you. So, third move, all the toes are down, and now we do the same thing, only lift the big toe. And when you've done that, push down the big toe and lift the other 4. In between, always try to control, is your foot still on the ground? So do you still feel the outside of your foot and the 2 points in the front? You still feel the outside of your foot and the 2 points in the front. Good. From there, try to pull your toes all apart. You still feel there's a little space in between. And you want to try to hold that for a couple of seconds, and then you relax again. Good, then we make a little break. Let's get the ball again. Have there been any questions so far in the chat? No, there are not.
Oh
yeah, that's great. But guys, if you're here, if you're on Zoom, then you can write in the chat, or if you're watching us on Facebook, which I know has a little bit of a delay, we've got about 100 people in Zoom and at least 20 more over on Facebook on the Mind Body Vault, but I know it's been shared. So let us know if you guys have any questions as this goes on, type them in the chat box, and then we can also make a point of reading those aloud to you, Stefan, as people ask questions.
We will. So, second round. So as we are doing coordination training, you should always be aware of how to do coordination. Coordination always comes without getting tired, okay? So the muscle shouldn't get weak while you do it. So normally that means not a lot of weight, and you do 15 repetitions. That you do 3 to 4, 5 times. And you do 30 seconds break in between. As we anyway have 4 moves, you can just rotate them. Do like first move, second move, third, fourth, fifth. And we start again. Now, 15 repetitions, all feet go up, all toes go up. Control again that your foot is down on the ground and only the big toe goes up and down. 15 repetitions. 5, 7, only the big toe. 9, 10. Good. Toes stay up, and now only the little 4 ones. Up and down. The big toe stays up. 6, 7. Remember that your full foot should stay down. And again, it's important that your knee stays on top of your ankle so that you're not going to the inside or to the outside. Good, then relax a little bit. Toes stay down, and it's only the big toe that goes up.
As you keep going, Stefan, I'm just going to ask a question, or did you see that in the chat? Someone wants to know if it matters if my toes curl down but don't touch the ground when it's just the big one going down. She said, they say, I don't think my brain is connected to my toes like yours are. Oh, that's from Alejandra.
That's hilarious.
Did you understand that question?
Yes. The thing is, your toes should stay up, and I don't want them to crawl at the same time while you go up and down. Here, you should stay relaxed and then go up and down. But that's the main thing. You want to get the control back. Most of my patients just look at the toes and nothing happens at all. So if your toes are actually moving, that's already good. Just don't put too much pressure on yourself. It should be fine. And the more often you do it, the more relaxed your toes will get.
Kylan says,
we also have someone asking how long, or I feel so disconnected from my toes. Is it something that's with a lot of things, just repetition and doing it more?
Yeah, this is really, really a lot about repetition. I will show you in the break between the next move and this one, something that you can do just to get a better feeling of how our feet actually can work. I mean, there are people who are playing the piano with their toes or writing letters. So it should be possible for us to get a little bit more feeling there. Just move your toes a little bit again before we go into the third round. Just do weird stuff with them. And stretch them a little bit.
Stefan, someone wants to know if there's any exercises that will help them with that exercise. So anything that will help them lift up my 4 toes without lifting up the big toe. Like a pre-exercise, it sounds like maybe? Or should
For example, if you have the ball already helps, because this is how you should get more awareness of that body part. It's not about the movement itself, but it's about getting a mental picture of your foot in your brain. And as I said before, we are going to do some little moves that are probably a little bit easier, but also should help. So we are ready for the third round. Again, all toes up. Again, remember, try to sit on, to stand on the 3 points and on the outside of the foot. And then it's just the big toe going up and down.
Reaction.
So we are ready for the third round. And the small 4 ones up and down. Short shake, all toes down on the ground, and the small 4s up and down. And only the big one up and down. So always, what I try to do is, I try to push down the toes that actually should stay on the ground and only lift the one, so that I have that counterbalance in the movement. These 4 are slightly pushing down on the ground while the big toe goes up. In a perfect world, you try to get the big toe away from the small toes, but that is even harder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good. Then the last time, try to pull your toes apart. You might find that it's easier on one side than the other, but that's the same as we are riding better on one hand than the other. So that's pretty normal. And again, relax. And another 10 seconds, pull them apart. Good. And relax. Good. So I ask you to bring a piece of paper. I want you to make little balls.
Oh.
How many little balls?
3 are all totally fine.
Okay.
What did you say, 3?
Yeah, 3 is more than enough. The smaller the balls are, the harder it will be.
Okay.
So the thing what we are doing right now is we are just learning to grab with the toes, which means we grab and let go. Just as a way to activate the muscles that are on the sole of our foot. And then you can try to do that only with the big toe or only with the small ones. And try to have the big toe on top then. so that you can play a little bit around. I know at the beginning, the drill we did before might be a little bit frustrating because things are not going fast and it doesn't work from the beginning. But if you take a little time to do this, it actually is working. And the important thing is that the moment you can do this is that these muscles who are going up here and the muscles that go here on the back side are actually working more and getting to work better together. So if these work, the ankle can be more stabilized, which is, as a rolled ankle is the most common injury in vaulting, quite an asset for us. So, next thing, what we're doing is the X move. So I told you already before, these are the movements we can do, and this is a movement we can do. So the thing that we are doing right now is we are going to combine these two. I hope you can see that one. So it's called X move because you think of the letter X while you're moving. So we have that diagonal and the other diagonal where we go up and down this way. So if your toe goes from inside up to outside down, the big toe leads. If we go the other direction, the small toe leads. So what we try right now, go for one foot only. We go from outside up to inside low. And that's the first diagonal. Always try to, we have pointed to the inside low and flex to the outside up.
Oop, Penny says hi.
And you probably can already feel it. As you're doing that, you feel it down here on the outside, because this is where the muscle comes from, up here, behind the ankle, down there. And that's all about getting the coordination of actually being able to do these movements. Good. Second diagonal. Big toe leads. We go from flex up to the inside to point down to the outside. Oh my cracking ankles. Good, let's change the foot. Same thing on the other side. Inside up to outside low. Big toe leads, flex up to the inside, point down to the outside. And again, try to imagine that big toe following one diagonal of the letter X. Good, then let's do the other one. We go from flex up to the outside. The little toe tries to pull up here. 2 point, little toe tries to go under. And always try to use the full range of motion. Good. Relax a little bit. And that's the point where we need a TheraBand or a loop or whatever you have, because this also can be strength training. So when you go flex up to the inside and then you push down, because then you have some resistance. But it's again the same movement. You come from flex up inside to point down outside.
So Stefan, would you say this is like a graduation? Like if they've done the other ones and they can do them well, then they do these ones?
Yeah, exactly. So if you roll your ankle, let's say you are at a competition, you do a dismount and you've rolled it, or just in training, then for, let's say, at least 7 days, you shouldn't do any actual strength work. So this is when you do it without the TheraBand. Normally in training, you can always go for a TheraBand. Let's just change the direction. So here, for that diagonal, you need to bring the TheraBand to the outside so that you have to pull from up here. Whoops, that was too much. So that it pulls the little toe up to the outside. And from here, you push down. Depending on the resistance you're having, you can go into a strength endurance training, where it's about 20 to 40 repetitions, 4 sets, and 1 minute break in between. Good. So those who have the loop, it's probably a bit easier for you now, but I think you can see my table. You push the TheraBand, you put the TheraBand around. so that it pulls down your foot. And then again, you need to remember, you have two diagonals. So you go from down a point and outside to flex and inside. And the other diagonal, where you go from flex inside, point inside to flex outside. Zap. Do you guys have any questions for that move, for the X move?
Well, I don't know if it's particularly for this one, but someone asked, so if you roll your ankle, you don't want to use the band, you want to wait so it can heal a little?
The thing is, in rehabilitation, you always need to go back to the function of the tissue. So our body is movement. So of course, during the acute inflammation phase, you want to rest and do not so much. But the moment when you have the ability to actually move again a little bit, and you have the feeling, okay, I can put a little weight on my leg again and it doesn't hurt, but I can't walk. So that's probably the moment when you start doing actual movement again. Then I would start doing the toe movements, where it's kind of like, okay, now that the more the muscles around it move, the better is the transition of the liquids. You know, if you have an inflammation, your leg is swollen, and you want to get that swelling out of the foot again. So that's where you want to have some muscle activity, because through the pressure of the muscle, the liquid can go out of the joint. So first step would be the toe movement, because as I said before, there is not a lot of movement in the ankle, but the muscles around are moving. So from there, you gain a little bit more stability. The next step from there is doing the X move. No TheraBand yet, because we don't want to have too much pressure on the tissue. It should be, okay, as soon as you can do the X move without having any pain, this is when you transition to weight bearing exercise, which would be the X move, but only with a TheraBand. And as you know, there are like different colors. So if you are more at the beginning, you will probably start with a yellow or a red one, and then step by step progress to blue, black, and well, if you're very excited about that move, you can go to gold or silver. But it's not necessary. Probably you go to jumps and stuff like that before.
You see Layla's question in there?
Yeah, there is one. How often we should do that? It always depends on if you have a problem. Wait, just let me check. It's called, no, that's not, I want to go here. There is a score. It's called FAAM, I think. Yeah. The foot and ankle ability measure. It I can send these to Ellie, and Ellie can put them online somewhere. There are scores that show you if you do have a problem with your ankle. Because sometimes we are like, oh, sometimes we roll over and it doesn't hurt, but it happens quite frequently. And this is one of the most not dealt with problem, I would say. Because they're like, okay, and then we get so flexible in our ankles that we actually can stand on the fibula instead of the heel, and it doesn't hurt at all, which is a problem because that might cause some bone fracture at one point when you land, and you land on your fibula and not on your heel. And I will look up if there is another one, but I only have the German version of it, but I can send you everything in English as well. That's easy. How often should you do it? The thing is, it's one way of stabilizing your ankle. If you have an athlete, or if you are an athlete who has problems with that, do it twice a week, 3 times a week. In active rehabilitation, if you are super fit, everything is fine, there might not be the need for it, because then running drills or jumping drills are more effective. If you are sick, if you have corona at the moment, this is something you can do because it doesn't affect your whole body's system, cardiovascular system. It should be fine if you do that. The same thing happens when you have a fresh knee injury or knee surgery. This is something that you can train, but that's more like for the really rehabilitation point of view. I see it a lot with the little vaulters, that they actually roll over their ankles quite often. So that's something where you can introduce more body awareness for them. Okay, what movement can my ankle actually do? And that's quite a smart way of going into training, because one goal of you as a trainer should always be make your vaulters smarter than they actually are at the moment. And
yes, hence the name of this class, How to Train Smarter, right?
It's about body awareness, knowing what my body is actually able to do and what are natural movements. And if you go into the 3-dimensional rotations in the ankle that we just did, you actually get all the muscles.
Yeah.
I can attest to that.
Very helpful. So yeah, we've got questions coming in. Feel free to. Are we done? Should we get officially into the Q&A here? I mean,
yeah, we can go into the Q&A. We are done.
Well, we had a more general question come in during the workout, but we were saving till the end. How long have you been vaulting? They want to know.
Very long, very long. I got into vaulting. I actually started with therapeutic vaulting. My dad died when I was 4, so then my mom put me into horse therapy to deal with all the loss and that stuff. And so I started that when I was 4, 4.5. And from there I started actual equestrian vaulting when I was 6. And that was in 1994, pre-millennium.
Wow.
And 7 years later, I went to my first European Championships.
Why does that surprise me about you?
I know. Wow.
No, actually, it was a lie. 9 years later. 2003.
We have another question coming in here. What is your favorite freestyle move?
Ooh, elbow stand.
Yeah.
And all variations of elbow stand. Just did it today again, because in Austria, high performance athletes are back on the horse. Yay.
Great. And if you could choose from any of the different types of classes, pas de deux, individual, team, what do you like to do the best? Someone's wondering.
tough question because every discipline has its own beauty. The nice thing about team, it's never only your fault. I like that because there's not so much pressure. But of course, if you don't do very well, there are 5 other people who rely on you. I think the most artistic thing you can do is actually pas de deux, because you have more time to really do music and get more into that stuff. And I'm very, very lucky to have Teresa as my partner, because we do so many weird things in training and try stuff out. And that's kind of probably the most creative way of vaulting in my feeling. But again, today I was on the horse, and we are not allowed to touch each other on the horse at the moment, so it's only individual vaulting. So I was on the horse again and doing some individual stuff, and it was like, individual was really nice as well. So, and next year there is no forward roll anymore, so all the tech moves are really nice in 2021. So like, that would be nice, but my head is not really good for individual vaulting. I always mess up.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm older and wiser now.
I would disagree with that, but yeah.
And going off that question, we have one here asking, what is your favorite freestyle in pas de deux? Favorite move, it looks like.
Or maybe like favorite routine that you ever did? Favorite freestyle? Oh, theme. Yeah, like the favorite theme that you ever did.
Ooh, that we did. Actually, 2017, when we did the Maori stuff, where we did in team the year after. I think that was the catch the bird thing where we go.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
That was really nice.
Yeah, I like that routine as well.
Great.
We have a few people from Facebook just saying thank you and hello from Sweden. So just making sure that they got to say hi. And Mari, you've got the questions. Were there a few other questions coming in? Oh, there's one about,
about how, we just have 2 more here, about how do you like flying or basing more? They're asking.
Okay, well, the last time I really was flying was probably when I was 8 years old. So that was in 1996. And every time I have to fly on Teresa and do a little drill where actually she's in a very stable position and I do a handstand or a swing or whatever, I'm scared as hell. I think their trust issues are coming in.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm very heavy and gravity is very strong.
And then we have 2 more coming in here. How often should we be doing the ankle exercises for kids? They're asking. Specifically.
Would that be the same answer that you sort of gave before? And we can
just if you have the feeling that there is an issue with your Walters, they should practice them more often. If you have like landing issues, if you feel okay, they come off and they often complain about their feet hurting, go for it. Do that more often, because it gives them a possibility to train at home. Because often when they train jumps at home or stuff like that, it's not always this, it doesn't happen what we want to happen.
Right.
Let's say it that way.
Right.
Other than that, it's nice to have it as an input. So like once a month, do it as part of the warm-up drills.
Yeah. Okay. So like once a month you recommend. We are also getting requests for a shoulders class, just like this one. Everybody's loving it.
Ooh, shoulder classes. They hurt.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of training. But yeah, maybe we do a shoulder class.
Yeah, maybe.
Ask Mind Body Vault.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys know.
Memorable.
So I
Yes.
think we still have questions popping in. We're gonna have to wrap this up because we have to respect Stefan's time. He's a very busy and important person, but as long as he'll keep answering questions, as long as he's
Yeah.
active. How about two more?
How do you twist your ankle in forward swings?
Oh, wow.
Hallie Dudley. Maybe she means like in the like a click off or like landing.
Or an actual swing? Forward swing.
Maybe she's rotating them incorrectly, she means. Hallie, go ahead and clarify that question.
Yeah.
Good, and we'll just use this time as we're wrapping up. Turn scissors, she's
She
looking.
says, yeah, she says,
Uh,
no clue, but often when I turn my scissors, I land wrong on the barrel. Yeah. Interesting.
Well, maybe we'll have to do a one-on-one.
Yeah.
I just wanted to finish with a big thank you to you, Stefan. That was awesome. I can feel even like the mind-body connection, which I felt like was, you really brought that out. Mind-body vault, you brought out.
Yeah, that's what I tried to do.
Very appropriate. Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you guys so much for coming. And we'll hopefully, be having a lot more classes like this. So stay tuned. And if you want us to watch the replay, I believe it will be living on our Facebook now.
Yeah, and make sure to join the private Inside the Mind Body Vault group to make sure that you get all the replays and all the classes, or just in the future getting notifications about what's coming up. Awesome. We've got all your thank yous and phrases here, Stefan, coming in from the English Vaulting Squad, from Mallorca, from all over the world. Thank you, thank you, thank yous. Yeah, guys, we had over 100 people joining us the entire time.
And
So
Mallorca.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Bye, Stefan. Thank you again.
Bye.
Bye. See you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.